And okay, and I'll share my screen. Okay, so welcome everyone to our overview. And first, let me just ask if everyone can see my screen okay? Okay, so welcome everyone to our workshop. It is an overview on collaborative learning techniques, devices, and technologies. Okay, just give me 1 second. I think I have a Okay, so our learning outcomes, by the end of this workshop, you will be able to define social learning, summarize the affordances of mobile learning, identify the benefits of different collaborative learning technologies, and to choose appropriate collaborative learning technologies for your own course. So what we're going to do is just talk a little bit about the foundational concepts of social learning, which will help us to understand where collaborative learning technologies actually derive from. So without further ado, collaborative learning. So collaborative learning is an educational approach that promotes learning and interaction with others. So through interaction with others. So with collaborative learning, students are able to discuss different topics. They're able to create different items or products. So they're able to do a lot by interacting with one another. Collaborative learning has a lot of great benefits. Some of the benefits of collaborative learning is that it offers higher achievement and greater productivity. It teaches students how to become more caring, supportive, and committed, have committed relationships, and greater psychological health, social competence, and self-esteem. So an area where this may really be important, not just in in-person class, but if you think about your remote classes, online learning classes, where students can feel a little bit disconnected or isolated if they're not in person. So these are some of the benefits of having collaborative learning, even if you're conducting an online asynchronous course. So how do we do that? Well, cooperative learning is a type of collaborative learning that promotes structured group learning where learners use both their social and academic skills to maximize their performance in meeting shared learning goals. So students develop sort of a positive interdependence on one another to maximize their performance, both socially and academically, to meeting those learning goals. And there's two types of cooperative learning. The first is informal. So informal may be small, temporary, ad hoc groups of 2 to 4 students working together for brief periods in a class, typically up to 1 class period, to answer questions or respond to prompts posed by the instructor. So that is an informal group, cooperative group setting. Formally, students can work together for 1 or more class periods to complete a joint task or assignment. So this may be such as a group project or a project where students have to work in teams over a long period of time. So what connects all of this together is Connectivism, which is a relatively new theory, but it posits that learners represents nodes and links of connection to information. However, it is empowered by using digital technologies. So in this setting, Connectivism, learning is defined as an actionable knowledge, which can reside outside of ourselves within an organization or database. So when we're talking about organization or database, we're actually talking about a technology, and it is focused on connecting specialized information sets. And the connections that enable us to learn are more important than our current state of knowing. So basically, we're being empowered to learn more, not only through our connections, but we're being empowered by being connected through technology. So that leads us to our next, how do we connect? So we can connect through mobile learning devices. So just a recap of what mobile learning is. As we are all aware, it allows us to connect formally or informally across devices such as smartphones, tablets, laptops. Even we can connect with ebook readers anytime and anywhere. So what are the affordances of mobile learning devices? So we'll talk about the 5 C's of mobile learning, which was introduced by Clark Klin. The first is content. So providing instructional materials that students can access anywhere or in specific contexts, like instructor commentary for a museum trip. A student can be riding the bus, listening to audio on their headphones. So you can access content anywhere. Capture, you can use mobile devices to capture images, video, sound, GPS coordinates, and ideas as notes. You can communicate, so you're being able to stay in touch with classmates anywhere or doing specific field activities. And you can compute with mobile learning devices. You can use the devices to assist in calculating, language translating, and other computational tasks. And then also you can combine the previous 4 functions together in interesting ways. And as mentioned, like augmented reality experiences that capture GPS location. I don't know if you were a part of the Pokemon craze, but this is kind of a reference to that. Orientation and images, and supply relevant content to the learner. So these are all the different ways that you can use mobile learning devices, and just want to include that we also have iPads available in our new center. So this is just one of the ways of including one of those mobile learning devices, such as iPads in your course, in your classroom. So which takes us to participation modes. So how do we collaborate informally or formally? How do we connect with our learner with these devices if we are in different participation modes? And what are those participation modes? So a good thing to know is that collaborative learning is adaptable to all participation modes. And Holy Names University definitions for different types of participation modes. As you can see, we offer different course formats that are available. Not only are students able to choose, but faculty are also teaching in these different participation modes, and some may overlap. So in person, students attend class in person or in class, in person on campus, sorry. Online synchronous, class meets online via video conferencing technology, which is Zoom, at scheduled times. Online asynchronous, all the course materials are available online in Canvas. And this means that students can complete weekly work independently in their own time. And then we have hybrid synchronous. So class meets on campus some dates and online via video conferencing technology, which is Zoom, on other dates. And then we also have hybrid asynchronous, where class meets on campus on some dates, and then students can complete all of their remaining work online Canvas independently on their own time. And then our newest offering is HyFlex, which is a course format in which students can choose and change their mode of attendance, in person or online synchronous via Zoom, from session to session according to their needs or preference. So with all of these different types of participation modes, is you want to think about how are we going to collaborate, whether it's formally or informally. What devices are we going to use? And next, what type of learning technologies will allow us to do that? So again, being empowered by using digital technologies such as collaborative learning technologies. So in just a moment, I will introduce some collaborative technologies that promote student collaboration in different course formats and participation mode. We'll talk about video audio discussion, graphic organizers, and social annotation. Okay, so starting first is video and audio discussion. So with the video and audio discussion tool, essentially instructors can post either a video or audio discussion prompt, and students can share a short video or audio response. and some tools have a maximum of 10 minutes. So what are the benefits of using a video audio discussion technology in your class? Well, one is to create social presence between the instructor and student. So this is going back to that asynchronous course where students don't have any physical contact with peers or their instructors. They're not on campus, and essentially they're online. Well, this is a great way to connect with your students and allow your students to connect with each other. So again, it creates social presence between instructor and students, and it promotes sense of belonging, community building, and social integration, which is really, really helpful to the students. It also offers flexibility in student responses, and it reduces anxiety. And that is because students can take a moment to think about how they're going to respond, either through video or just audio. And that leads to empowering student voices to engage and share insights and ideas. So you may have that student that's a little more on the introverted side, whereas they may not speak up during class, but this gives them a time to collect their thoughts and to be able to share their thoughts and voice their ideas and insights using video and audio technologies. So what are some great devices for video and audio discussion technologies? Smartphones, tablets, and laptops are great devices, mobile devices that will allow students to record audio and video. And the best participation mode for video and audio discussion technology is asynchronous. Why can we not use other participation modes? Well, if we're all in the same classroom and we're all trying to record ourselves or record our audio, that might be a little chaotic. So the best use for the video and audio discussion tool technology is in a synchronous participation format. So what are some of the features of video audio discussion technologies? Well, students can interact and also leave commentary. They can use audio and video responses. And then with tools such as Flip, they have expressions with multimedia graphics. So we won't go too far into Flip right now because that is our next workshop. However, the types of video audio discussion technologies that are available is Flip, and as well as Canvas Studio. So Canvas Studio, we've had recent workshops on that. And if you attended any of our active learning workshops, we kind of talked about the basic uses of Zoom and Canvas in different participation modes. So now we're looking at a little bit of other tools that can also be beneficial and useful outside of Canvas. So we will be discussing Flip in further detail in our next workshop, not only discussing, but practicing with Flip. And so this leads to our open discussion, which you can unmute your mics, and please do share if you have used or heard of a video audio discussion technology, and also how are you using video audio technology in your course. If you can share your strengths or limitations, and even the outcomes for using video audio technology for your course.
Well, I use it a bit, but I let students just use whatever they want. So if they want to use like Kaltura within Canvas, they can. If they want to use a Microsoft Movie Maker or whatever. But it kind of raises the ante with the discussion. Students are a little bit more likely to think about their content if they have to put their face to it and record it and say it. Mm-hmm. It also kind of increases the richness of the discussion experience and makes it a little bit more real. But it adds that nonverbal communication that you don't get with the discussions. So it really makes the experience a little bit more legitimate.
Great, thank you.
Dr. Page, could you actually share with us what type of course format you taught when you use this type of video audio discussion?
Well, I use it for communications, public speaking, ethics, business, management, leadership. They work for all of them. Okay. And you could do it with teams too. You could say, you three, and because you can do that and you could do it in Zoom, you could do it in WebEx, and they can kind of make up their own. It's a little bit more fun, but I'm up for if anyone has any better technologies than, because students are always that, oh, I can't get it to post, or I can't get it to work, or can't get it to, in communication, I have them pick an old commercial that they want to mimic just to stretch the vocal cords as far as pitch and rhythm and timing, and kind of get away from, the monotone. So you could get just an assignment like that for practice. You can give it in a marketing class, have them make a commercial of their own.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
It's a great way. Did you find any limitations while using any of the video audio technology?
Yeah, a lot of students don't know how to work it. They may know it better than the faculty, though. So
Okay.
if we don't know, we just ask our students. They could usually help us.
Okay. And were there any strengths, like with the outcomes, that students show that they were more engaged using or less engaged?
Yeah, there's always going to be one or two that just said, well, I'd rather do it or not. How many points do I have to lose? Oh, I can deal with that. But on the other hand, it raises a simple discussion to just be a little bit more involved. It's just more engaging, faculty, student, peer to peer, and it increases the engagement level. It's really worth it. It's really not that hard.
Awesome. And I saw that there was a hand raised by, I believe, Anna.
Yes. So yeah, just wanted to share my experience. I used two types of video audio technologies or strategies in discussions. The first one is Canvas Studio, where I ask students to record themselves presenting on a topic. And I used it in COM 121 web design, where they have to basically explain their concept for building the website, explain their target audience, and just do like a presentation like they would probably do like in a corporate setting, presenting to stakeholders, or in some kind of other event where maybe like talking to their potential clients. So that was interesting. I think it was very beneficial for the students. I used it about 2 or 3 times during the course. I'm saying 2 or 3 because one of those times was optional, kind of a practice assignment, and they had a choice whether to do it or not. The other 2 were required. I noticed that I had students who basically it was a 2-part assignment. They had to record their video, and they also had to provide a transcript of the video to meet the accessibility standard. So I noticed that some students would provide the write-up, but they would not provide the video. I don't know why, but for sure, but my assumption is that there are just some people who are camera shy, or they, just basically like more introverted students. From my observation, they would shy away from doing the video presentation. So this semester I'm trying a different approach. I'm actually making the video optional and, to kind of not to punish students who are just not up for that. So the other type of discussions I used were kind of interactive videos. I used this type of discussion in a different college because HMU does not, at least when I was trying them, I'm not familiar with the new technology you're introducing, but I used at the time, and I still use it, PlayPosit. And PlayPosit has a really cool feature for video discussions where they can type in open-ended response to open-ended question. And they can see what every other person would type. So it's different from, let's say, quizzes where they have to try to answer. So there's like no right or wrong with those questions, and they can see what everyone else is typing. I don't think they have a capacity to respond to each other in those discussions. So it's more like a prompt, and so it's not like a discussion in a sense like Canvas discussion where there's a more communication going on, but I'm not actually exactly sure. It just wasn't like part of my assignment. It was more like meant to be more like a prompt. So I wasn't even looking at the ability to reply to each other. So it was fine for what I was doing. And that was used at El Camino College Digital Art Fundamentals course in the context of discussions on colors, shapes, lines, basically like, how do you feel about this or that?
That sounds great. I think there was a question on whether it the tool that you use automatically produce transcripts. I think that Studio does produce captions to videos, not necessarily transcripts. But do you know if PlayPosit produce transcripts or?
Well, great question. I know that it works with YouTube, and I think it has a capacity to read YouTube generated captions. It definitely also has the capacity to upload the captions generated elsewhere. Whether it currently auto captions, I don't know, because I wasn't looking into that. I just uploaded the captions.
Okay, well, great. Thank you so much for sharing, Anya. This is the tool that we will be reviewing. It does provide student-to-student commentary, so they're able to leave commentary, as well as captions, and they can upload captions as well. So we covered a lot of great points in terms of using video and audio discussion in the course, and how it has its strong points, and it can also have some limitations. So we're looking to see how we can continue to further grow our knowledge around using video audio discussion in classrooms, and how we can use it to improve student engagement. So thank you for sharing. I'm going to move on to the next topic. And that is graphic organizers. So graphic organizers are visual thinking tools that help learners to organize, clarify, or simplify complex information. The benefit of graphic organizer technologies, well, some of the benefits are, it helps learners to visualize the relationships between concepts and even ideas. It increases knowledge retention by simplifying complex information. And it also provides both visual and textual representation of information, which can be very important for students that need visual components, and also students that prefer textual representation of information. So the different types of devices that you can use with graphic organizing technologies is smartphones, tablets, laptops, and yes, if you're in-person classroom, you can use a basic whiteboard and markers. The best participation modes for graphic organizing technologies is in-person, online synchronous, online asynchronous, hybrid, HiFlex. So the cool thing is, if you're not using a whiteboard and a marker, which is only for in-person, you can use a graphic organizing technology across participation modes. So what are the features of graphic organizing technologies? Well, one of the cool features is that you can use it both in real time and in synchronous collaboration. So if we're in the classroom, we can collaborate using a graphic organizer. And if we are asynchronous, hybrid, HiFlex, even on a Zoom, well, hybrid, HiFlex, we can asynchronously collaborate. Also text, visual, and video components. So with graphic organizing technologies, you're often able to use the text, you can use visual images, and some may even allow you to include video components. And then there is student interaction through commentary and feedback. So some of the graphic organizing technologies, there's a lot of them out there, but one of the ones that we've been looking into, and I think a couple of faculty may already be using it, and students may be using, is Miro. So that will be in our next workshop, where again, we will, our workshop after Flip, where we will practice with Miro. Also, though, available, and it's kind of relatively new for Zoom, is their whiteboard. So Zoom also offers a whiteboard, and graphic organizing technologies, while we refer to it as graphic organizing technologies, it may also be referred to as a collaborative whiteboard.
Is that the same as Microsoft Whiteboard, or are they two different things?
Miro and Microsoft Whiteboard are, I think, are two different
Zoom
things.
is Zoom Whiteboard the same thing as Microsoft
Oh.
Whiteboard?
To
No,
my
different.
knowledge, I don't think so.
You
Yeah,
can use Microsoft with Zoom, Microsoft Whiteboard with Zoom. I just never got really good at it because, you know, I could pick all the colors and the different brushes, and I just want a pen.
Yes, so the Zoom whiteboard, it seemed like they've had some relatively, it's supposed to be new, but it looked like they updated some features. But Miro is essentially used for collaborative whiteboarding. So they have a robust amount of features that you can use it for, like if you're into mind mapping, concept mapping, just different ways and different functions.
Is that how you would use the organizer technologies, is on the whiteboard?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
if you want to do a Vendo or a mind map or a Venn or something like that, you can capture that technology and it goes to the whiteboard and then you populate it in front of the student?
So with the collaborative whiteboard, it is a digital technology where you can use the tools located within the whiteboard to design and create your mind map or your brainstorming or something like that. If you're using just a regular whiteboard in the classroom, then you can draw out your mind map.
Yeah, I like that's what I like.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, so we're looking at different ways that we can incorporate these technologies. So again, Zoom is available for free. If at any time, if you want to check that out, it is available in your Zoom account. But we will be practicing with Miro and just discovering the functionalities and practicing with that tool.
So if I wanted to add if I wanted to use that, or if you wanted to use that, do you go to the apps little icon there at the bottom and then get to it from there?
Yes, so for Zoom Whiteboard, you would just go to, I believe, I'm not sure if Whiteboard is available. I think if you select more, you may see the Zoom Whiteboard available there. I'm not sure if that's.
No, I have a sign in, so I don't know if
Okay.
it's prompting me with that first, but I like whiteboards. It just makes it easier to kind of get some concepts across.
Certainly. So we can look into that and follow up with you to make sure that the Zoom Whiteboard, because like I said, it's new, so make sure that it's turned on in our Zoom accounts. But what we will be exploring is Miro, which is a totally different app that is available online. And we're going to practice that in one of our workshops.
Okay. You just got it up here, so
okay. So that takes us to our open discussion on graphic organizing technology for brainstorming or mind mapping. Just thinking about different ways that you're currently using brainstorming or mind mapping in your classroom. And if you are using this mind mapping, brainstorming, how are you currently using it? And if you could share strengths or limitations and the outcomes for using graphic organizing technology in your course. And again, it's also including if you're just using a basic whiteboard and markers. So is anyone doing brainstorming or mind mapping in their classroom? Anya?
Yeah, I definitely used these tools. Well, Miro, I'm familiar with Miro from my own kind of set of tools. I didn't use Miro with the students, but I used it. As far as in the class, I used Google, one of the tools in the Google set of business tools. I'm just blanking on that. Let me just go there really quick. And so it would be I used Google Drawings. I used Google Jamboard. So those were the ones I used also in web design class when I asked students to, I did a demo for the students. I also used them in Zoom rooms when students were just collaborating with each other and putting those posted cards on the screen. So yeah, so I like them. I think if there's like a better way of doing it rather than Google tools, I would try that. But yeah, definitely was, a good experience in general.
Great. Would you, did any of the students voice any limitations or strengths with using the tool for their web design?
Well, the one that I recall was I had a student who was joining the session on his mobile phone, and when I tried to interact with him, and try to help him put together those cards, he couldn't do that because he was on mobile device, and it's not as user-friendly for those users.
Okay. Okay, and so it was his phone that was a little limiting for him to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. Anyone use mind mapping or brainstorming just using the whiteboard?
I did the first week of class, I had the students get together in small groups and brainstorm as many different ways as they can get their hands on the textbook for a decent price. So it was renting, buying, borrowing, begging, whatever. But within 15, 20 minutes, we had a lot of very, very good ideas on how to get their hands on the course, how to get their hands on the book for a decent price. So no one had a good excuse not to the following week. But
Great.
yeah, I just do that to teach the 5 steps of writing. I'll have them get in groups and I'll say, you've got 5 minutes to come up with as many ideas as you can. And, they get a few. And then I said, we're going to do the same thing, but now we're going to incorporate a who, what, where, when, why, how. So you get 5 minutes for who, 5 minutes for where. And then, we go to another board and we said, now we're going to add another lens to it. And you could probably in 15 minutes, you can quadruple the amount of ideas they get in a short time.
Mm-hmm.
The visual aspect of the whiteboard, it gets them involved, it gets them up, it gets them doing things, and it leaves a trail of the final. So you just have to clean the boards before the next instructor gets in.
That's great. And a good point that you made was it gets the students actively engaged and they're able to come up with more ideas than they would if they were on their own. One of the benefits of using the digital board is that you don't have to erase it. You can save it and students can always go back and review their what they created together. So again, I'm going to mention the dates of the workshops towards the end of the workshops, but we will be practicing using a graphic organizer named Miro for mind mapping, and we'll review concept mapping.
Real quick on these, are they interactive? So for instance, if I teach a class on teams and collaboration. So let's just say they're working on something together and they're not in the same room or in their dorms or wherever. Can they use that whiteboard interactively, like a Google Docs, where one can add, one can cross it out, someone can write something, someone could cross it out? And is that so? Can I do that?
Certainly. So it is a collaborative technology. They can collaborate in real time. They can enter at different times, but they can leave commentary. They can make changes and updates. So it provides them with those benefits as well. So again, I'll be mentioning the dates of those workshops towards the end of the workshop. I'm going to move on to social annotation. So social annotation is a great way to add a note to a text, which can provide information. Students can share commentary. They can express power, spark conversation, and aid learning. So social annotation is really cool for promoting it can really be essential in promoting reading. So that leads us to the benefits of social annotation technologies. It can promote reading for possible writing tasks. So students are actively engaged in the reading material. Students are able to address misconceptions pertaining to readings. They're also able to provide insights and communication between the writer and collaborators. So you have a writer of the document. Also, the instructor can lead the conversation by pointing out certain points of the passage that they're reading and ask students to address it, or ask students to find certain passages of the reading and to address either misconceptions or their insights on the reading material. And then students can also leave comments. The devices that can be used for social annotation technologies are smartphones, tablets, and laptops. And the participation modes is, of course, is also across all participation modes. So you can use this in person while you're in the classroom physically, online synchronous, online asynchronous, hybrid, or even high flex format, course format. So the features of social annotation tools is that you can use it real time and asynchronous collaboration. Also, they have some tools have annotating for mathematical or engineering notation. So what that means is sometimes you have mathematical formulas and students are not able to actually use certain tools or technologies to write those mathematical formulas. So they're able to notate that using a mathematical formula tool. So that's pretty cool. Also, student interaction through highlighted text, commentary, tags, diagrams, and hyperlinks. So they can hyperlink to other documents to support their insights or ideas that they're sharing. They can also use videos. Another cool feature is you can incorporate memes, which we'll talk about in that workshop. So these are just some of the different features of social annotation tools. Some of the technologies, social annotation technologies, we will be reviewing and practicing with Hypothesis, which is a free social annotation tool, but we also use Microsoft OneDrive. Like if you have a paper and you want to leave comments or links, you can use Microsoft OneDrive as a way of sort of kind of annotating a paper as well. But we will be exploring Hypotheses. And that leads us to our next open discussion, which kind of some of the same questions, like, have you heard of social annotation technology? If yes, please share how you're currently using it and what strengths and limitations were, and what were the outcomes for the students. And Dr. Page, I know that you shared yours from a whiteboard perspective, which was very enlightening, because that's a great way of encouraging active participation. I think that was for graphic organizing, but have you used it for social annotation as well?
Haven't. Not that I know of. I mean, I'm still trying to, not by that term, the social annotation technology, but I'd like to know more about it. I just kind of like was trying to figure out and get Miro open, because I'm always living in the future and never in the present. So once you mentioned it and said it was coming up, but not today, then I felt like, oh, I got to get it today.
Okay. Well, I'm glad
I'd
to know
like to
you're
know how that
excited.
works.
Okay, awesome. Well, we are going to explore social annotation. One way to think of social annotation, because I know the name can kind of throw us off a little bit, but if you ever had a textbook and it was highlighted, or someone left a little note on the side and you're like, oh, okay, this note is helpful to me. You know, I was thinking the same thing, but you can't talk to that person that left the note in the textbook. And then you add your own highlights to it. So that's kind of social annotation, except for we're doing it now as a collaborative group. So I do know the person that's leaving that note, and I'm able to share my thoughts with that person directly, and the instructor. And also I'm able to share highlights and things of that nature. So it's really a great way to socially engage students in reading. especially if reading is, and as it often does, supports a major writing assignment. That is pretty much social annotation. It's just basically being able to collaboratively annotate documents and readings.
I wonder if that can be used to enhance discussions.
Yes,
Rather than someone says, well, I saw your discussion in paragraph 3, sentence 2, at the end where you said this, that, and that, I didn't understand. Or can you jump in, can use it for editing or peer editing or group editing or just the regular discussions? I'm just curious.
That's a great comment,
Mhm.
Dr. Page. Actually, Tomasa and I, when we met together to discuss the workshop planning, I shared my experience with her and how social annotation tool can be possibly used to help facilitate discussion. I remember when I was back in grad school, my faculty might assign 4 readings a week, and I was taking 3 or 4 classes a week, so it's like almost 20 paper a week for me to read and process. And I was thinking it would be so helpful if faculty could highlight the key points in the PDF article or give us some guiding questions so we know what to focus on. And if we have this tool back then, if I could collaboratively read the assigned reading with my peers, that would be really helpful. And also, of course, will make our discussion later on more fruitful and more meaningful. So thank you for bringing that up. Yes, reminds me the conversation I had with Tomasa.
So that will take us, does anyone else have any other experiences with social annotation tools that they would like to share? Okay. So that brings us to the next thing, and that is we've covered most of our major, we've covered our major collaborative learning technologies, also collaborative learning techniques and devices. So now we want to think about what to consider when choosing our collaborative techniques, devices, and technologies. And some of the things that we did discuss, such as the strengths and limitations, and some of the things we did address as far as preparing students for how to use especially devices and technologies. So the first thing we want to do when selecting especially our collaborative technologies and devices, we want to think about diversity, making sure that it's representation of everyone and divergent points of view, voices being heard. Equity, and that goes really, really thinking about devices here. So let's just say if you have a high flex class and you are teaching your class in person and everyone has an iPad and that person that's tuning in remote does not, well, then is your assignment equitable for everyone to participate? So making sure the technologies you use, again, we pointed out many different ways you can use these devices. So if you have a smartphone, you can still be able to participate whether or not you have an iPad. So just thinking about that. Inclusivity is very important as well, making sure everyone is included. I think one of the tools that we reviewed actually has a component where the students who may use sign language can use it as a way of communicating. So just really thinking about these other options, and of course, accessibility, making sure that you have both video, audio, and text options available. And that also goes back to our accessibility course, which is available this semester if you're interested in reviewing our course on accessibility. So that's one thing to think about. And then the next is that it enhances digital literacy. And so I think Anya mentioned this. She prepared students by giving them a practice assignment, giving them time to actually get to know the technology before just giving them assignment to use the technology. And also just making sure that that it meets the needs of it meets your learning goals, and it can also be beneficial to the learners. Which brings us to the third point, that it positively impacts and improves student engagement. One of the things about especially technology is we want to make sure that it's not cumbersome, and also just thinking about what those strengths and limitations are when incorporating these techniques, devices, and technologies. Getting feedback from your student is one of the best ways to know if it has a positive impact and improve their engagement. Also, most of the collaborative technologies provide feedback and insights on student progress. So that is really helpful to students that so that they're able to share their insights right away and get feedback as well. And also protect student privacies. And this really goes to collaborative technologies. For the most part, the technologies that we reviewed have a privacy statement. So that's just something to consider when you are selecting a technology as well. So that moves us to our next component, which is open questions. If you have any questions whatsoever concerning any of the items that we discussed, please feel free to unmute your mic and share.
Still figuring out how to open up Miro or Whiteboard or anything. I don't want to, you know, it's a wonderful presentation. I don't want to get to next week and then just say, now, how do I do this?
Well, that's exactly, if you've never had experience with these tools, we're all coming in with that mindset of exploration. How am I going to use this tool? So what we're going to walk through in our next workshops is we're going to practice with these tools, just basically the functionality. And then we're going to do a practice demo together as you would in your class. And then when you take that back, you can look at different ways that you think it may be beneficial for you and your students. And if there's no questions, I'm going to go ahead to the next slide, which talks about what's coming up. So our next slide is video audio discussion technology. So when I was talking about video and audio discussion technology, we were talking about Flip, which is a video and audio discussion technology tool. So we have our next workshop, which is next Friday, September 30th at 12 p.m. You have the option to attend in person or remotely. In person, I-Ching and Ray will be available to assist with using the tool, or remotely. We'll also we'll be sharing that same presentation, and we'll walk through how to use Flip, the functionality of Flip, and then we'll practice with a demo and creating a video audio discussion. So following that is graphic organizing technology, which is Miro, and that will be October 14th at 12 p.m. Again, you have the option to attend in person or remote. And we will walk through the functionality of Miro, and then we will also have a practice demo where we actually collaborate and create assignment or activity using Miro. And then finally, our social annotation technology tool, we'll be offering that with Hypotheses on November 4th at 12 p.m. And again, you have the option to attend in person or remotely, and remotely is via Zoom. And we'll go over the functionality of Hypotheses, and then we'll do some cool activities with Hypotheses. So with all of these tools, we are going in with the mindset of just exploring the tool, practicing with it, and we'll be, I-Ching and Ray and I will be available to assist you both remotely and in person with how to use these tools. And also, if you're looking further into how you would like to use these tools for your own courses. So that will conclude today's workshop. We do ask that you complete your workshop evaluation. We definitely thank you for attending today's presentation. And what I will add is if you want to go ahead and take a look at some of these tools, create accounts, by all means, please feel free to do so. The more that you have to share in our workshop, the better we all are. But if you would like to just wait to the day of the workshop, that's fine. We'll be starting from scratch together. And I think I-Ching has placed the link to our workshop evaluation in the chat. I'm going to stop sharing, and I just also want to mention that we have our workshop scheduler. Sorry, I think I went too far Yes, so our workshop scheduler, if you have not already, please use our one-on-one consultation and workshop scheduler to not only schedule for our workshops, but you can also schedule if you have any questions concerning Canvas or any of your teaching and learning needs. Yes, that would conclude today's workshop. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. And I thank everyone for participating. And again, our workshop evaluation form is available in the chat.